Facebook if any of them will start linking, connecting. Okay, so in a few seconds I will start the theme song. Just about at 1 o'clock. Get that theme going now.
Please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks. KUAW.org, the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center in Kansas City, Missouri. My name is called Boyd, your civilian host on Wave Your Grades, where we ask American students to strive for excellence in honor of our troops. Louis George Walker, founder and producer and engineer of Wave Your Grades, uses the call letters KUAW, which stand for knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. So we are gratified that he gives us this opportunity every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. to bring Wave Your Grades, where we ask students who do want to honor our veterans, who do want to honor our troops, to do more than wave the flag. We ask that young people wave their grades, wave their leadership, wave their community service, wave their peer pressure to excel. So it is, we call the program Wave Your Grades. Each Saturday, we have advocates who are supporting educational efforts among the students and our schools. And today is no exception. As a matter of fact, the exception is it is an exceptional representative from something that Kansas Cityans will love, because he is an alumnus of Central High School, about which we will talk more very gladly. But dear special guest, Gary Kane, before I introduce you in a more formal way, let me do something that I pray will properly set up the conversation for today. Brother Walker, I'm not the engineer that you are. I am going to try to play just a brief excerpt. And when you hear these words, I will explain why I did it. And some may figure it out even before I explain it. But these are the words I want you to hear.
I'm going to cut down significantly the amount of time that we have to talk about the issue that is the single most important issue in Kansas City at this moment.
Now,
Ed Newsom is my very special guest, a member of the Kansas City, Missouri School Board.
That's it. I was introducing something that said the single most important issue in Kansas City at this point. Then I introduced a gentleman who was a member of the Kansas City, Missouri School Board, Brother Gary Kane. As we get into this program, I want you to know that this statement about the most important issue in Kansas City, Missouri, where I was introducing the subject of education, was 1995. Now,
Louis George Walker, well, as a matter of fact, not just Louis George Walker, but I'm sure that you and I also could have played a statement like that since 1995 several times in Kansas City, Missouri. At this point, the Kansas City, Missouri School District is considering the closure of 10 schools, two of which are high schools, in something called the Kansas City Public Schools Blueprint 2030. Now, having set up, and by the way, I will be happy during the program to, as a matter of fact, so that I won't be interrupting our very special guest as he does talk to us. I'll just mention the names of those schools now. And unless, Brother Kane, you wanted to do that in your introductory remarks.
No, proceed, sir.
This is the plan to close or repurpose 10 schools. As a matter of fact, current headlines say close, Blueprint 2030. The schools that are mentioned in the intent to close are number one, Central High School, number two, Northeast High School, James Elementary School, Longfellow Elementary School, Troost Elementary School, Wheatley Elementary School, Whittier Elementary School, King Elementary School, Faxon Elementary School, and Melcher Elementary School. Two high schools, 10 elementary schools. I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing and inviting and welcoming our dear brother Gary Kane. And I want to thank Teresa Thompson for opening this avenue for us to have this discussion. This day, Saturday, October 29th, 2022, an alumnus from Central High School, and by the way, my wife and her twin brother are alumni from Central High School. Here is Mr. Gary Kane.
Good afternoon, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you for allowing me that lengthy introduction. Please go right ahead.
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm humbled to be able to share today on behalf of the Central High School Alumni Organization, for which I am the chairman. Our president, serving as president now, is Cora Lyons. And we're praying for her and her family in the loss of her nephew on yesterday.
Sorry.
And she called me and informed me that this opportunity was available and would I be willing to step in her stead. I'll do my level best, Mr. Boyd, to do that this afternoon. As you know, Central is one of the flagship high schools in Kansas City, Missouri. There is Lincoln, that was established in 1867. And then there is Central High School, established in 1884. Central was at 11th and Locust in 1884 and moved to 3221 Indiana 111 years ago.
Wow.
A 138-year-old institution, if you will. And that we've come to this point where education, particularly for African Americans and certainly our children, is not only the way out, but certainly the way up. And we've come to a point where the Kansas City Public Schools, I might say, after a 22-year drought of accreditation, they have introduced this plan, Blueprint. They call it Blueprint 2030, or a so-called vision. And it includes much of what Mr. Boyd indicated in his introduction. The Central High School Alumni Organization, along with what we call Blue Eagle Nation, the alumni and the community, stand opposed vehemently opposed to this plan. This plan began in the year 2019. And as we all know, in February or March, the world was turned upside down,
yes,
by a global pandemic.
right.
And the Kansas City Public Schools, their entities, are advancing this so-called vision. And we all know that when the affluent of our society sneezes, they just sneeze, the affluent sneeze, Black America catches pneumonia. And so the point is here, we are affected 3 to 4 times more detrimental in our community when a health crisis such as a global pandemic is introduced. However, in summary on this segment, the Kansas City Public Schools, their hierarchy had continued to advance this so-called vision in the midst of a pandemic when Black people are seeking to just stay alive. But they did that. And then, of course, as the pandemic lifted a year and a half, maybe 2, or should I say began to lift a year and a half, maybe even 2 years later, then they come and say, you know, this is what we want to do. We're scheduling any number of community meetings. And I'll just summarize and say, I came in town for the community meeting that was held at my alma mater at Central on October the 19th. And there was they recorded 279 last week at the meeting that was held on the 26th, but there were over 300 people in that school that night. And we expressed our vehement opposition to them closing this school for many, many reasons, which I'll get into in a moment.
My understanding is that when you say that you are the president of the Alumni Association, that is for all classes, that is all alumni from Central.
So I am the chairman of the organization. Cora Lyons is serving as president
right.
currently.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. No problem.
One of the reasons I mentioned that is because it appears, and I may be wrong, but my perception is that Central alumni in the Kansas City community, and by the way, as they have spread out after having graduated to other communities in the United States of America, seem to be more impassioned than other alumni seem to be. Now, that just may be. I don't get an opportunity to interact with other alumni as much. But are you familiar with John Robinson? John Robinson is an alumnus from Central High, and his statement to the Board of Education and to the interim superintendent was that Central should be, and in his mind is, the jewel of the Kansas City, Missouri school district. And please help me to shape this in the right context. Now, Brother Walker and I were around in 1989, and Central Computers Unlimited Classical Greek Magnet School, a $32 million edifice, came up with, and again, Brother Kane, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It was technologically oriented because it was.
Correct.
So that here we are this few years later and talking about the fact that the 2 reasons for closing 2 high schools and 10 elementary schools are 1, lowering enrollment, and 2, aging buildings. So the alumni of Central have what to say to those of us who hear that rhetoric?
Well, first of all, Central the newer edifice is only 32 years old. It was built for the 21st century classroom with all of the features and amenities that the 21st century high school student could benefit from. The numbers that they are showing us does indicate a diminishing enrollment. The school capacity, as we understand it, according to their data, is 1,140. They're indicating to this date that Central has 472 students. There are a few ideas, if you will, on the drawing board. One is they're talking about closing Northeast, and they're talking about closing or repurposing. That's the word, the buzzword they're using, Central. Now, when they, let me say what they mean, what they explain to us they mean by repurposing the building. They're going to take that 21st century edifice that was built 32 years ago. They're not going to close the school. They're going to bring over some of the administrative staff of the Kansas City Public Schools. Our question is, or of many, is why repurpose this 21st century edifice for the Kansas City Public Schools staff and send the children to Southeast, a building that is much older, does not have the amenities that Central has, and send these students to a less than type of facility for them to be educated in, when the intent 32 years ago was for this particular edifice to be the place for the 21st century high school student. The other night, Wednesday night, October 26th, there was and I have to accent this, there was a Caucasian gentleman that got up and registered his disagreement and opposition to this plan. He indicated that his son is a part of a robotics team that went to the state level competition and competed fiercely. I said robotics, Mr. Boyd. That's where the world is going.
Yes, sir.
And they have a robotics team at Central, and they competed at state level. And so what does that say? That says that the curriculum is in line, that there, with the features and the amenities of the school, and educating, and I'll keep using this phrase, the 21st century high school student for the future. That says that Central is not only competing, but they're right up there. They're in the arena, with the big boys and the places where the young people want to go in their lives, and presenting to them a world that they can work in, that they can survive in, exist in, and raise a family in. And so that's what we say to that. Why take these students out of this building, this 21st century building, and push them to a building that is less than in terms of its features, its amenities, and the environment that the 21st century high school student needs, not can use, but needs?
Let me do this. I always, and by the way, let me remind those who are with us that this is Waive Your Grades, American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops, in honor of our veterans. My name is Carl Boyd, your civilian host, and we are blessed this afternoon to have with us the chair of the Central High School Alumni Association, Mr. Gary Kane. And I often, Brother Kane, invite, as a matter of fact, I always invite Brother Louis George Walker's comments. We won't be able to see him, I understand, or maybe he can make himself visible, but he can certainly make himself heard. On this occasion, Brother Walker, rather than simply say, feel free to join in, with intentionality, I would like for you to apprise Brother Kane as to your view of the African American student in particular in 2022 and their acumen as it relates to closing the digital divide. And as Brother Walker talks about what is done right there at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. And he is the president of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, Brother Kane. So let us hear from Brother Louis George Walker.
Well, good afternoon, Carl and listeners. We're so glad that we're able to join you today. Once again, you're listening to Wave Your Grades with Mr. Carl Boyd, and you're listening on KUAW Radio, which is located in the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, 4510 East Linwood Boulevard. And you can pick us up on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and Twitch. You can see this right now. Just go into your computer and type KUAW-radio or just KUAW Radio, and you will pick us up. You can also pick us up audio only on the TuneIn app, on the Get Me Radio app, on My Radio Tuner, online radio box, Radio Garden. If you have a smart speaker like a Google or Amazon speaker, tell it to play KUAW, and you can listen to us all the time. So I want to say thank you for joining us today. And this is a very important conversation. As when he mentioned robotics, my ears went up right then and stuff. But yeah, I'm familiar with the robotics program. They actually participate in the first robotics program. And there's only 2 or 3 schools in the Kansas City School District that participate in it. And to go to a state level is a great thing. And you want to have the best facilities for these kids to compete and the latest facilities for these kids to compete in robotics. At that robotics competition that he went to in state, there are always colleges like KU, MU, K-State that send representatives that watch the teams as they participate in it. And they not only enjoy supporting engineering programs and science programs like that, but they look for the kids that have been on it. And their team doesn't even have to win. I talked to a representative from KU and said, if they just say they were on a robotics team in high school, they can add in there. Now, if you say you went to state or you did something better, that just adds a little more icing to it. But this is where they can get scholarships. That's beneficial for their parents, for the student, and for this country, because we need more engineers. We need more kids that are fluent in that technology space. And to close down your technology magnet school really sounds counterproductive to what the workforce of the 21st century needs. We need to have students in those classrooms where they have the best connectivity, where they're all wired for the internet, where the school was set up for computer learning. That's the type of thing that we want the students in. That's the ground we want them in. Like you say, if you want to keep schools open that are twice as old or 3 times as old as them, that wouldn't have the infrastructure that technology magnet would. Now, granted, in 32 years, that technology has changed a great deal. And there are upgrades. There are things that have to be done, because what was state-of-the-art 32 years ago, what was state-of-the-art 5 years ago is not even state-of-the-art. So you definitely do have to have some updates, but you would have to do that anywhere. So that's a facility that I think we should, as you said, should still be a jewel. That's your technology magnet. That was the one that you wanted to show off more than any other. So to say you want to close that down is almost admitting defeat of the whole desegregation bill, of that whole plan where the state of Missouri had to pay that money to upgrade things, to bring them up the state, that you want to take one of the primary beneficial buildings of that and close it, sends a bad signal, I think, for Kansas City to the rest of the state. That's something that we should be looking at and say, well, wait a minute, we spent $32 million and now they're saying it's not needed. It's not wanted. We can't use it. So That's just my opinion on it. For those of y'all that listen, these are the views of George Walker and not of KUAW Radio. But that's my point on it.
By the way, for those of you who are with us, if you can see on your screen the phone number, you are welcome to call in. Uh,
gmail.com. That's Central Alumni KC at gmail.com. Please email us. Go out on our website. The website is currently under construction now because we're seeking to incorporate something that Ms. Teresa Thompson has been a big help with as a transplant from Houston to Kansas City, and I hope she's listening.
Yes.
She's been a big help with this petition drive, Brother Boyd and Brother Walker, that Central has put out there. We are seeking to get some 2,000 signatures on these petitions. So our website is being currently formatted so that the petition drive can go online as well as in hard copy. What are we saying to the Kansas City public school system with that amount of signatures? We're saying in the softest way possible that 2,000 people can decide whether you continue to represent us on the Kansas City Public School Board. When you work for the students of Kansas City, Missouri, you work for them. You work for the citizens of Kansas City Public Schools, the neighbors, the neighborhoods. That's who you work for. And so with that being said, there is an election coming up in April of 2023. There are 3 seats that are up, and we want to certainly be, the alumni community, the citizens of Kansas City, we want to be fully and completely engaged in that process. December the 14th is a trigger date for this recommendation to be voted upon. And we are praying and hoping and working that this date can be either postponed. And if it's not postponed, then we're hoping that the date will be eradicated, that this recommendation will be put down, and that we will come together as a community, the citizens, the neighborhoods of Kansas City, Missouri, the Kansas City Public Schools, to assist, to aid, and to uplift the students of this very vital public school system. Alumni, we need you. Our P.O. Box is 300762, Post Office Box 300762, Kansas City, Missouri 64130. We need you, alumni of Central High School. We need you.
This is so wonderful and so greatly appreciated. As a matter of fact, Brother Gary Kane, this was those 15 minutes that you promised to give me, and I have seen.
I hate to interrupt you for a second there, though, stuff. I did get a call from Teresa Thompson, and after I finished talking, I inadvertently left a switch off. They didn't get part of that bit after I finished talking. That was a human error on my part. I want to put it out there for those guys on YouTube that posted, because I see it on YouTube, but they didn't post on Facebook, so it didn't jump up in front of me right then. I actually got a phone call and got that fixed. That was my fault. I truly apologize, but they did miss about the last 10 minutes, well, from when I stopped talking to about 4 or 5 minutes ago. So that was a bad point on me.
Well, then now, did they get the contact information from Brother Kane?
Yes, the contact information was going out. They just got that. So.
Okay, appreciate it and thank you. And is Teresa online, or did she have a particular message?
She didn't have a particular message, but she does. I just see what they said. They had no sound on YouTube. They posted that, so she called me directly. Didn't call the station number, but she did get to me in time so I could get the switch turned, and they did hear the contact information and the appeal for the alumni.
Okay,
but y'all go ahead. I'll give you an extra 5 or 10 minutes because we don't have a show coming on right after it. So if you want to stretch this until about 2:10, that'd be good.
Let me tell you that I have significantly imposed upon Brother Kane.
Oh, okay, okay.
This was going to be about a 15 or 20-minute program.
Yes.
And he has been very gracious and stayed with us. So what we might do is simply allow Brother Kane in your final remarks to throw
Yeah,
out
because
that
she did
prayer.
just call me back and said that they would like to hear that part that's missing.
Oh, of course. Now, is there any way to retrieve that?
I don't know that it was cut because when I hit the switch, I think it cut
Okay,
it off so it didn't even record that part.
I see. Well, I'll tell you what it pretends,
Okay.
and that is an invitation for Brother Gary Kane to come back to this program, not only to continue this discussion, but to talk about updates and progress, because believe me, he and they are going in the right direction. So allow me to allow him his
Yes, we'll
lead.
definitely open this back up in the
Okay.
coming weeks so that we can get some
Yeah.
more information.
So, Brother Kane, I'm not going to require of you that you spend some more extra time. I love the fact that we have a cliffhanger. We love cliffhangers, that there are people who cannot wait to hear again from Brother Kane. But not only that, the next time we expect more and more good news, not only about Central particularly, but what it has motivated others to do. So, in behalf of Wave Your Grades, Brother Lewis George Walker, I'm Carl Boyd. Thank you, Gary Kane, so very, very much.
Well, we were humbled and certainly honored to have spent this time today, Brother Boyd. Thank you for creating the space in which to do so. And we humbly accept your invitation to come back again and do some updates. A couple of things I'd like to say in complete summary this afternoon. Number one, we need to continue to remain engaged in this process of what is taking place with the Kansas City Public Schools as it relates to this recommendation from the consulting firm. We need to remain highly engaged. There is a meeting again at the school board, November the 16th at 6:30. We're calling not just, first of all, Central alumni, students, parents. We're calling for them to be at that board meeting in presence. And then, of course, the neighborhood schools that are also affected by this. We're saying, come to the school board meeting, because we've come to, we in the Central Alumni Organization have come to, that the Kansas City Public Schools needs much more community oversight. It needs much more community oversight and engagement from the community. In short conversations with the board members, they're saying we're excited and happy about what we see coming from Central, but going forward, what can we expect? And we're saying to them, you can expect this kind of engagement. You can expect this kind of oversight. At the same time, we want to know what can you do for us? What is in it for us? And we want them to hear and act on some of our ideas about keeping Central open for the student development and for the purposes of academics, and not bring to that beautiful 21st century edifice administrative staff from the Kansas City Public Schools. There's the option to bring Northeast to Central only because it's an older building, much older building than Central is. And again, as we spoke about in our opening, that Central was built for the 21st century high school student and its achievement. We are on board with the Kansas City Public School systems, increasing student achievement, their motto, increasing student achievement and enhancing the student experience. We are on board with that. At the same time, we want to be a part of helping to shape what that looks like for the Kansas City Public School system, but even more specifically, Central High School, that very famed institution that has shaped and molded the lives of many people across America, not just in Kansas City. And again, I'm honored to be here today. The Central High School Alumni Organization is pleased to be able to share with you, and in coming weeks, if it's possible, we'll bring back with us a couple of our leadership team who can share better than I our vision, our goals for opposing, if you will, this recommendation that we believe is ill-advised. The Central Alumni Organization has established as its motto, a historic past, shining present, bright future. And we certainly want the future of Central High School, its students, and the students of that community to have a bright future as we seek to engage the Kansas City Public School system, as we seek to put down and set aside this ill-advised recommendation that includes specifically Central High School, the Blue Eagle Nation, the school that has produced so many highly productive citizens across this country. Thank you today again, Mr. Boyd. Thank you, Mr. Walker. We're pleased to be able to share. May God bless you and your efforts as relates to what you're doing for WAVE, the grades, and the Students for Boots, as you seek to do more and better with our students in the Kansas City area. May God bless you. May God keep you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. Wow, what a wonderful program. And we promise that we have some time to regroup and to get those minutes back on the next occasion. But what we have heard and been a part of has been so inspirational. Thank you, Gary Kane. Thank you, Teresa Thompson, for setting us up for this program. Thank you, Brother Louis George Walker, KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. My name is Carl Boyd. This is the word for October 29th. To students across the USA, your Students for Boots message for this day, October 29th. A veteran had to go to the hospital to show a wounded friend the grades of an excellent student. My name is Carl Boyd for Students for Boots, and wave your grades, gracious God and wonderful Wanda. I'm on my way home.